we've talked now about what didn't work. Maybe now we can talk about some things that did work. And normally, the gentleman who regulates 70 cents of every dollar in this country, banks, can't be on the stage with another banker. But in this particular case, it's a bank he doesn't regulate. We were able to bring out, I want Jill to come out. He's the founder, president, and CEO of Cross River Bank, which, by the way, is the second largest provider of PPP loans during the crisis in the country. And he is one of the smallest percentage of loan volume. In other words, the smaller loans, he's one of the biggest banks with the smallest loan balances for small business in the country. He has an immigrant background. It helps him understand the needs of people. I want Jill to come and join us now on stage. We also have another panelist who's joining us, Joanne Barefoot, who's the founder and CEO of the Alliance for Innovative Innovation. Okay, show us the rainbow after the storm. Help us understand how a bank can do well and do good in fintech. You're an expert at it. You're an honest broker. You're advocating in this space. In a few minutes, help us to help an audience get their hands around such a complicated topic, but make it approachable.
So if I may switch the order, it's not doing well and doing good. It's actually doing well by doing good.
Okay, all right. You had me at hello.
And I think that if this is the objective of our creation, our existence, then things will fall into place and we will do well. But this is not the name of the game. I think the banking industry as a whole needs to be there for the consumers at large and provide them with something that is very accessible, very easy to understand, and at the same time that protects them. And if we do well by the consumers and by the small businesses, then things will fall into place for the banking industry at large. But it really starts by first understanding what are the aspirations of the small businesses that are direly in need of funds in order for them to operate their businesses. And same thing holds true for the consumers. I mean, during the pandemic, for example, obviously it was extremely difficult to go around the corner to shop, and people started shopping online. They could be abused if they don't really understand the products they're getting, if they don't understand what they're paying or the mechanism for them to pay for that product to get to their homes, then they could be abused, and that's where actually the banking industry could run afoul of consumer aspirations.
Explain to the audience, to my mother who's sitting here, she's a really smart lady, but...
And she's proud. And she's proud.
Well, I hope. Depends on the day. What's fintech? Like, let's not assume people understand these fancy phrases. What is a fintech operation? What is a bank involved in fintech?
So, very good question. Fintech is really a contraction of the word financial and technology.
Okay.
So a financial transaction could operate on two sides. Either you're taking a loan, so you become a borrower, that's a financial product, or you could actually collect a payment on the other side. So in other words, you're an Uber driver, and you have an Uber rider. Okay. A rider pays via a mechanism, it could be a credit card, it could be an ACH, it could be any other mechanisms, and so that the Uber driver could get paid in turn. So you're using, let's say, a credit card to pay for that transaction.
Yep.
The Uber driver cannot afford to wait 2 weeks to be paid by Uber.
Right.
They need to be paid in real time so that they could actually go and fill up, they take a gas so that they can get to the next ride. That's where fintech comes into play.
Okay.
To deliver that payment in real time so that people could actually afford life in real time.
This is a really important point. So you're saying that, people were telling me, by the way, recently, everything's technology. We don't need to go to meetings anymore. It's all, do everything by Zoom. Everything's, I said, wait a minute. A dating app, which is technology, the whole purpose of a dating app is to meet someone. Did I miss something? Have I missed something? I'm used to the black church. I'm seek and respond. Did I miss something? Okay. So what you just told me is behind all of this technology is a hamster wheel called people and a bank with an FDIC insurance and a regulator. In other words, the technology that allows an Uber driver to get paid, they may just see Uber, and by the way, Uber is one of our Hope Inside the Workplace partners. We're honored to be partners with them. But that technology, really important, Silicon Valley, they can't do it by themselves.
That is correct.
They need a bank to connect with. You guys following this? The technology company needs a bank to partner with, and that bank has something as old as American commerce, which is federal regulation.
That is absolutely correct. And the responsible way of conducting that transaction so that movement of money is done in a legal and regulatory way, you need a bank in order to execute that transaction at the end of the day. The last mile needs to be executed by the bank.
The last mile, the last part of that transaction.
Because the bank has 200 years of regulatory compliance DNA. The name of the game here is if we don't control that transaction to protect the consumers or the small businesses, we will be shut down.
Right. So his peer, which is the FDIC chair, or his peer, the Federal Reserve chairman or whoever, the Federal Reserve leadership, or I missed one, CFPB. Have I missed a regulator?
There's lots.
Somebody with a government badge could shut you down, a bank, if you don't do it right. Right?
That is correct.
Which means
I think the comptroller wants to add something.
Go ahead, please.
But the fintechs are not regulated as banks. Okay, so this is where we're now moving into the future. So in the past, if you dealt with the bank did everything. Everything was done by the bank. And now we're moving, your example, I think what Gilles was talking about, we're moving into a world where the line between a bank and a non-bank providing a banking service is starting to blur. You don't know the difference. We care, Gilles cares, the fintechs care, and the question is, again, how do we ensure that that service is safe, sound, and fair for everybody? That gets complicated when some of them are regulated directly by, say, the OCC or not, and you got a bunch of fintechs who are in the space of commerce. They're not regulated directly by us. And so I think this is something we're working through right now because we want to harness what's good from technology, but as we're seeing in the crypto space, if it's not regulated, it can run off the rails. And so this is something that we really need to pay a lot of attention to.
So Joanne, I'm coming to you next. Hold on 1 second. I want to talk to you about FTX, which is really important, because I think this is where the conversation needs to go. But let's go back to this for a minute. To show you how much integrity this man has. I've known him for years. He's a partner of Operation Hope. So we're backstage, and I asked him a question, which I won't repeat here, but I asked him a question about somebody we both know that they do business with that's an unregulated institution in fintech. And I asked, it was a philosophical question, it wasn't a specific question, it wasn't, I don't believe, a confidential question, but his response, rightly so, was, I can't comment on that. Because what he knows that I don't is that there are fiduciary lines that he knows he can't cross, but as an FDIC insured bank, he knew there were things he could talk to his friend John Bryant about and things he couldn't, and I knew enough not to ask him another question. But that's what you want. You want a banker like this who knows where the lines are and respects them. Now, Joanne, in this FTX situation, as I understand it, no banks were present anywhere. It was all just a bunch of 18-year-olds, whatever, 1880, unregulated, off the chain, living in the Bahamas.
CEO is 30.
Huh?
The CEO is 30.
CEO is 30,
Yep.
going on 18.
Yep.
And this guy went from a net worth of $26 billion to nothing almost overnight.
Yeah.
And with that, a number of depositors, well, I don't know, investors, clients, I don't know what you call them, because they weren't FDIC insured banks. This is where it starts to get messy. Joanne, help us unpack this for the audience.
Yeah. So I'm going to take this from a little bit of a different angle.
Sure.
I agree with every word that has been said on this panel. As Mike knows, I'm a former regulator myself. I think crypto needs regulation. It's a young industry. It's evolving and changing quickly. And the FTX meltdown a few weeks ago is one of the most spectacular failures in the history of finance. I mean, it's an unbelievable implosion of a seemingly serious company. So we need more regulation. Crypto's full of risk. Crypto means a lot of different things that need to be regulated in different ways. I'm afraid I'll put everyone to sleep if we start talking about like which things need regulating exactly. But I would like to say that maybe taking a little bit of a contrarian view,
Sure.
there is a lot of power in this technology, and I know we're going to talk about financial inclusion, potentially to drive toward better financial services. When we talk about the 100 years of good compliance DNA in the banking system that you mentioned, Jill, that's true, it's there, I respect it, but it has also been accompanied through the years by a lot of banking behavior that has been exclusionary and been too cautious and too careful, and left a lot of people out of the system, which is part of what has drawn people to crypto. I'm sure a lot of people in this room know this, but the crypto world has a very strong developer community of people of color. There was a conference in Washington a few months ago called, I think it was called the Black Blockchain Conference, and they sold a T-shirt that said, "Satoshi is black." Satoshi Nakamoto was the person or people who claimed to have founded crypto. So there's a utopian streak about the possibility that the underlying technologies, not the speculative behavior, not the fraud, it looks like there's fraud here, but the blockchain, the tokenization, the decentralization, the transparency, we hope will survive things like the calamity here with the
That's not contrarian. We agree on that. In fact, I said that before you walked out, that blockchain is part of the future, and I agree with it. But it is also true that every financial area that got regulated actually was more valuable after it was regulated than before.
Yeah.
It's also true.
Yeah.
But yes, the banking industry, because of regulated, don't take as many risks. My problem is, if you bought that Bitcoin at 60,000, and now it's what, 16,000 or whatever, the people who bought it between 16,000 and 60,000, they look like me. They don't have a trust fund to go pull and go, oh, well, oops.
Definitely.
That might have been everything you had in the world. And I'm sorry, that's not okay with me. It's just not. So we gotta find a happy medium between innovation and stodginess.
Exactly. And I wonder if we can start to use technology to move to a new model for investor protection that doesn't assume that some people just shouldn't be able to get in on an opportunity, but rather to be more nuanced about how to figure out when is an investment inappropriate for someone, unsuitable is the term in the law, and when might it be suitable for people to be able to come in and have an opportunity on the upside?
Comptroller?
So I agree that there's this, we have to strike the right balance, but I think I want to be really careful. When we talk about innovation, a lot of technologists, I think especially in the crypto space, are coming from a world where, what are they innovating? They're innovating apps, apps, entertainment, things where I would say the stakes are low.
Yep.
With money, stakes are high. Yep. I think of money as like transportation, like airplanes,
housing,
medicine, right? We want innovation with our medicine. We want innovation, but we don't want planes falling out of the sky, and we don't want medicine that's going to kill us. And so I think we have to approach it with that mindset. And I'm afraid that in the financial technology space, some of the technologists don't have that appreciation that when you're dealing with other people's money, The stakes are high, and the bar for innovation is just much higher than if you're making an app that's going to make your life a little bit more convenient. Nothing against that. But if that breaks, it's not a big deal. When this breaks, people are losing their money, they're losing their homes, they're losing their savings. That's a way bigger deal. So I think that perspective had got a little lost with crypto and in some corners of the fintech space. So I think that's a reckoning I think that we're going through right now. I think that's healthy. I think conversations like this really help.
And I will say also as a closing comment, I think it's no accident that certain promoters of this who are less ethical than a Jill, less concerned than a Joanne, I think that it's no accident that they found a population of people who were frustrated, upset with the mainstream system, emotional about it, looking for a way to short circuit from poverty to a paycheck, wanted to get rich, I'll say it, quick, just say it, and did not have necessarily the financial literacy or the sophistication to understand they're being jammed up. We're not talking about unintelligent people. If you're black in America, you're born on probation in America. You're twice as smart, twice as intelligent, twice as well dressed, get up twice as early, stay up twice as late, you got too much mothered into your money. You're a black woman raising a family needs a Nobel Peace Prize for innovating. I'm talking about smart people here. But it's what you don't know that you don't know that's killing you, but you think you know. And there's somebody out there trying to separate you from your wallet. And I got a problem with that. So we need innovation. And we need banks to find better pathways. And we need for you guys to relax every now and then, but not too much. and we need guys like you to push the envelope and start a business as you're the founder of the bank. You started with nothing. What's the assets now?
About 10 billion.
Oh, no. Hold on, slow. Wait, whoa. Hold on. See how cool he said that? He started it with nothing. What's the assets now?
10 billion.
See, he says 10 billion. He just whispered it. When you make 5,000, you scream it. Do you know there are no ugly billionaires? My man said, very cool, 10 billion. See, that's what I love. I love making smart sexy. That's sexy right there. So we want more guys like you.
I'm just the rabbi in the room. I'm here for the kosher certification.
But on a serious note, as we wrap up this panel, here's the question. Don't we want it done right?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Give them a round of applause.